Well, good afternoon, TRTA members and all our friends who are tuning in. It's so great to be back. We've had a little bit of time off from all of the work that we have been doing from the previous year. However, we are back at it and there's a lot going on. And I'm so happy that you're tuning into our special broadcast today as we get ready for a very important activity here in Texas, and that is our primary election season. And so we want to talk about that some today. I want to give you kind of a background on what's been going on and where we're going and what's happening with that. But let me get started by first commenting on something that's so important to our organization, and we're so grateful for everyone who's already registered. But we do have our annual our TRTA convention is coming up. And so if you don't know about our TRTA convention, it is in Corpus. The dates are April 15th through the 17th. And I know that rooms for the event have been going very quickly. And that always happens. If any of you are watching this and you're a TRTA member attending our convention in Corpus in April, and you've been having some room issues, please give us a call. We're happy to help. But the rooms are filling up, and we're thinking about adding some additional rooms. But we're kind of waiting to see how it all turns out. If you have started your registration form and you have not yet finished that, I would encourage you to get that into us as quickly as you can. It just helps us in all of the planning that goes on. This is the TRTA 70th anniversary celebration. You do not want to miss this event. It is going to be different than any other convention that we've had in the past. We are really going to make this a special year. The TRTA, I think, celebrated their 50th or 60th and now their 70th anniversary in Corpus Christi. And so we're really looking forward to that. And this marks 20 years that I have been involved with TRTA too. So there could be some still surprises along the way. But I do know that if you're thinking about coming, we're going to have a great time. The theme of this convention is like being on a cruise ship. So our leadership has really worked so hard. Our staff is working so hard. So if you are still planning on registering, please get your registration in. If you need any help, please let us know. If you're brand new to TRTA and you just want to get connected and see what's happening with this amazing organization, it's a great opportunity for you to come and be a part of something special. Look forward to seeing any and all of you in Corpus. All right. So I also want to, as I get started, I want to say hi to one of my coworkers who is doing some work today. And he has been on my mind a little bit, and that is Brock Gregg. So Brock, if you are watching this broadcast, I just wanted to say hi to you and hope all is well. And so I think it's probably safe for us to go ahead and start talking about voting. And so this whole conversation today is about getting out the vote. And if there is one thing that we have seen and that other people have seen, it is the power of this block of individuals to get out and vote in the election cycle. Clearly, Prop 9 sent some big signals out there to Texans. I promise you, people in the electoral process, legislators, consultants who advise legislators, staff members that work with legislators and elected officials, everybody that is involved in the political world saw Prop 9 and how many people turned out to vote, and that Prop 9 ended up getting more votes than any other proposition on the ballot. And I have to tell you, it was noticed. People paid attention to the fact that if retirees are really motivated, they not only will show up at the polls, but they will take people with them. And so I want to talk about this phenomenon a little bit with everybody today, because we do know that the primaries really are the elections in many cases, not every case, but in many cases, primaries have a pretty good indicator of who might be taking that seat. And of course, TRTA does not endorse any candidate for political office. But we are going to talk about some things that I think are going to be important to all of you as we get into this program. I do not want to take a lot of your time because I know that, when I start talking, sometimes I don't know when to stop. But I do have, believe it or not, notes. And so I'm going to try to stick to these notes and make sure that everybody knows what we're trying to get accomplished here. So first thing I wanted to mention in this whole conversation is that we are seen as a powerful group. There are more than 500,000 school employee retirees in Texas. Over 2 million people voted for Prop 9, 150,000, approximately more people voted for Prop 9 than any other proposition on the November 2023 ballot. So we came in first place. And when you come in first place during a statewide election, and people are not entirely sure who's all going to show up, I mean, we beat property taxes, for crying out loud. So we are seen as a pretty powerful and active group of individuals. And my guess is that many of you have been getting communication from those who are seeking office in your neck of the woods. We are not telling you how to vote today. What we're asking you is to make sure that you have a plan to go and vote, because we are a powerful organization of individuals that once united and going to the polls, we can actually swing elections one way or the other. And so I hope that you all are as energized as I am about the power that you have in your hands in this moment to make a difference. We do believe, based on all of the reports that we are hearing from the people that follow this stuff, that this is going to be a relatively low voter turnout. It's sad to say, because I have degrees in both political science and history, and it is sad to say that that voter turnout seems to be going down all the way around. Unfortunately, what that really means, though, is that the power of the people that actually show up is so much bigger than what they would have normally seen. More people that show up, the more it dilutes the total voter population that shows up, as far as what is motivating people to get out there and vote. But in low voter turnout elections, I think we all recognize that the people that are really dedicated are the ones that are going to show up, and those dedicated few will be sending lawmakers to the Capitol in 2025, in a large part. In these primaries. So once you go through the primaries, you have a pretty good idea of who may be going to the Capitol in 2025 to work on issues that'll be important to us. And so, now really is that moment for us to recognize that there's a cycle here. During the run up to the legislative process and what's, really what happens after elections is we work with these elected officials on our issues and what we think and what we're trying to get accomplished. They work with us during the legislative session to get those things accomplished to the extent that they can, and against all the other competing ideas. And then when that process is over, the elections kick back in. And so you have to look back and say, if we're not going to make endorsements, can we start looking at track records, which I'm going to talk about in just a second. But I really hope that you do understand that not only are we a powerful group, not only are we a group that is dedicated, that has dedicated voters in it and people that can make a plan for themselves to go and vote, but also people that will take others with them to the polls and will encourage them. I love our organization. It's made up of educators, people that have worked their entire lives trying to influence the betterment of other people. And so my hope is that all of you will continue to educate the people that you're in contact with about the importance of showing up in this election, especially one that is supercharged with all of the communication and conversations and all the people running for office. We've had a bunch of retirements and lots of folks that seem to be interested in this election cycle, but the electoral base is going to be pretty small. And so everybody that shows up, you have the power in your hands to potentially influence these elections one way or another. And so I also want to say, that as I mentioned earlier, the primary really may be the election of record for a lot of these legislative districts. Now, it's not the same in every single area. The general election can be close. And that is certainly something that we're going to be paying more attention to. But everyone right now is focused on these primaries. I will say this also: some of our TRTA members have made this comment to me in the past, and that is that I know that come November, I'm going to vote in the general election for one party or the other. And that party may not be the party that I voted for in the primary, because the person that I'll vote for in the primary may be the person that actually is going to win my district. And so that happens sometimes. You may have a competitive general election that turns out may not be as competitive as what people would like it to be, but you still go and vote for the person that you want. But to make sure that it's somebody that you could still work with across the aisle, you show up in the primary and vote for the person that you think best represents or has represented the issues that are most important to you, either in the coming legislative session or in past legislative sessions. And so I want to talk a little bit about that decision-making process that we are talking to our members about in this election cycle. So clearly, the previous legislative session has a track record on TRS-related issues, and specifically issues related to requests or the advocacy agenda of the Texas Retired Teachers Association. We know that the legislature, I've kind of boiled this down, I guess is what I'm trying to say. What we know is the legislature, the incumbent legislators that worked on our issues, fully funded the teacher retirement system. And that's billions of dollars that is worked into the Texas budget to make sure that our pension system is not shortchanged the needed contributions that are committed to that retirement system, so that we can pay benefits for all those people that are still teaching in the classroom today, and all those people that are going to join the education ranks in the future. Our pension system is stable when we make the regularly required contributions, and that has not always been the case. It has been a huge effort on behalf of the Retired Teachers Association and our friends in the legislature to establish budgets that say, if we are saying we are going to commit a certain percentage of funding to the teacher retirement system, that is the funding that we will put in. And many of you that are watching this broadcast know that for years and years, and even decades, there were periods of time where that was not the case. And so as an organization working with the legislature, fully funding TRS is a big deal. It is a big win for us as an organization, and for our members, and for all future retirees. And so that is item number one. Item number two is that the legislature fully funded TRS care. And again, for those of you that have been in the trenches with the association over the years, you know that our health insurance program has been underfunded at times. And we have seen huge influxes of cash simply to shore up that health insurance system. But over the last several legislative sessions, and including the most recent legislative session that we just finished last year, the Texas legislature voted to fully fund TRS care. And that is a big deal. It makes sure that we don't have interruptions in our health insurance program for those that are in it. And it is part of the budget process that sometimes in years past has been undercut. And so, knowing that you have friends in the legislature that fully fund these programs it's very important, and it's billions of dollars that goes into those programs. Now, of course, school districts make contributions, and active teacher makes contributions, and legislature sets aside money in the Texas budget to do those things. And when you add all of that together, you get the teacher retirement system. And if any of those have any material weaknesses in what those contributions are, well, all of a sudden things start to fall apart. And so the benefits for our future retirees will get called into question. And then if you want to give benefit enhancements to retirees now or in the future, if the system is not stable because we didn't make those contributions when we were supposed to, we find ourselves in a position that those things are not possible. And so it is a big deal when legislators agree with the retired teachers that are working on these, retired school employees, TRTA members, that are working on these issues to fully fund these things. And that is a great track record. Now, that's great. And if you needed something else, I'll give you a few more items. And again, I think it's important, especially as we get into this information, that if you are a voter and you're wondering, is there something here that he's trying to say that maybe I'm not picking up on entirely? I'm going to be very clear about this. Every incumbent legislator that served in the previous legislative session voted unanimously in favor of the items that I'm about ready to talk about. So if you're thinking about who to vote for and you think, all right, well, I'm going to make a decision, what's the track record? The association is speaking specifically to a track record, a pro TRS retiree, a pro TRTA advocacy track record that you can then take a look at and say, all right, well, here's so-and-so. They served in the previous legislative session. The track record is the most, it's the most beneficial track record to TRS retirees in the last 20 years. And so I'll point a few of those things out that were voted on unanimously in support of our TRTA agenda from the previous legislative session. The first and foremost of those things is the cost of living adjustment. We just at the end of last month saw all of the work come full circle that we have been putting forward on a cost of living adjustment for our retirees. $3.3 billion was set aside to pay for the cost of living adjustment. And so hundreds of thousands of school employee retirees were able to receive a cost of living increase because of the work that was done in partnership with our friends in the legislature. Every incumbent voted favorably on the authorization to provide the cost of living raise to those who were eligible in the previous legislative session. And so full support. Now, I turn on the news just as much as some of you, and I probably turn the news off just as fast as some of you do. Very few things that legislators or elected officials work on these days can be looked upon with total support, complete and total bipartisan support, unanimous support. Everybody said, that seems like a good idea, and I'm going to vote for that. So if you were an incumbent in the previous legislative session, these are things that you as TRTA members can look and say, hey, this track record is about me. And so as you consider all of the other items that you might want to consider in the selection process, we are making it very clear that incumbent friends of ours that worked on these issues have a track record supporting retirees. And if it encourages people to just get out and vote, then I will feel like we have done a great job of communicating to our members and our friends the importance of getting out and voting. So the COLA was a big deal. The supplemental check that people that were 70 and over were able to receive was authorized in the previous legislative session. This was something that really helped a lot of our members that have been retired for a long time. If you've been retired for a long time and maybe you're one of our more senior retirees, your annuity is not very high. And the legislature focused on giving as much as they could in the way of not just a cost of living adjustment, but also targeting help to people that were lower, potentially had a lower retirement benefit and maybe been retired for a long period of time. And that inflation had really taken a major toll on what was going on. So that supplemental check, many people did not know that was something that could happen. And it was probably the largest supplemental check in the history of the country being provided to retirees, especially those 75 and over. I've been around this stuff for a long time, and I've never heard of another state writing a $7,500 check to school employee retirees anywhere else in the United States. And so that takes commitment, that takes hard work, that takes bipartisan support, and it takes people that are committed to helping those school employee retirees in their district. And that is a pretty impressive track record that you can use when you're talking about voting in your area for the folks that are going to be on the ballot in this election cycle. The final thing that I'm going to point out, and which I think is really important for all of us to understand, is that not only did they fully fund TRS, not only did the legislature fully fund TRS care, not only did they authorize a COLA, not only did they authorize a supplemental check, but they also fully funded the COLA as well as fully funding the supplemental payment. And that that means that our pension system did not take on any additional liabilities in order to pay for the cost of those benefit enhancements. And I think many of you responded, thousands of you responded when we asked our members to send a thank you note at the end of January to your elected official, thanking them for putting that money into the retirement system to authorize and pay for those benefit enhancements. It is well known by almost every legislator that not everyone received the help in the previous cost of living adjustment or the supplemental check. We know that, and I had these conversations with elected officials. You do as much as you can with as much resources you have available, and then you work in good faith to try to make sure that what you are doing today does not hurt the ability for legislators to do things for other retirees in the future. I don't know when that is going to happen. It may be next session. It could be the session after that. But the work that is going to go into those initiatives will not be encumbered in any way by the fact that we did these things just last session for all of the retirees who received that benefit. So for a legislature to authorize and fully fund without having a negative impact on the retirement system creates a great track record for our members and people that are sympathetic to retirees. And again, let's face it, you all are very influential people. If you're talking to your family or your friends and they're saying, hey, I don't know any of these people that you're saying maybe I should go and vote for. All we are saying at TRTA is that incumbent legislators in the Texas Senate, incumbent legislators in the Texas House have a track record of support in helping retirees. And we are asking our members to look at that track record and absolutely look at other resources that are out there. You can look at websites. There's teachthevote.org. There's the League of Women Voters. There are a whole bunch of websites and community groups. Legislators themselves have campaign pages that talk about what's important to them. You can do all of that research and then make a decision on what you think is right for you and for the person that is going to go and do the work that you would like them to do in the Texas legislature. It is a lot of people ask all the time about endorsing candidates, and quite honestly, I just don't know that any organizational endorsement is as strong as when you all get together and start talking to each other at the district level, at the hometown level, and saying, hey, this is who I'm voting for and why. And my whole purpose of being on here today to talk to all of you is to give you some information on some of that why. And we wanted to make it very clear on several of these points. I'm going to just hit them very quickly again. It's going to be a low voter turnout. There are going to be a lot of entities that are going to try to drive people to the polls. I don't know that all of those entities are strongly in favor of the things that we know as an organization we're still working on. But I do know that we, specifically TRS retirees en masse, are seen as an organization, more or less a group. I didn't mean organization, but a group of people that are organized to get out and vote. And my guess is that most of you already have a plan for when you're going to go and vote. And my hope is that you will encourage others to do the same. I did want to make sure that you all realize there is a strong track record, and not every legislative session you have such a clear track record on things that have been achieved for retirees, but fully funding TRS, fully funding TRS care, authorizing a COLA, authorizing a supplemental check, providing full funding for those benefit enhancements so that future legislators will not have to worry about whether those costs are going to impact the system in its actuarial condition. This took great leadership, and I'm thinking about every member of the Senate, every member of the House. We worked really close together to try and achieve the best results that we possibly could. And the one thing that I heard over and over again is the support that these elected officials have for our community of retired school employees. I do believe that elected officials see us not only as an important electorate, a group of people going to vote for them, but they see us as part of their vibrant community. Just a strong thread within that community that continues to serve. We may not be in the classroom serving, but so many of you work in volunteer ways, or you serve at your church, or you serve at some community event. Some of you work in legislators' offices. We just know that our retirees are engaged, and I think legislators recognize that. And so when they had the opportunity, they made sure that they showed up for us, and they worked hard for us. And if that is enough for you all to believe that those votes were earned, and that's something that you're going to look at, I think it's important for you to know, as do the members of our leadership here at TRTA, that those items were supported unanimously by the Texas legislature. So I have one little short story. It's really not that short, or not that long. It's not even much of a story, but a friend of mine who served in the legislature tells the story about how she went through an election process. And when the election process was over, she didn't have enough votes to carry on. And so she started getting phone calls from people saying, "Hey, what happened? I didn't know that it was going to be that close. And I'm sorry I didn't go and vote because I just figured you had it." And that story, I think, it speaks volumes of what people sometimes may take for granted in this process. And that is, well, somebody else will go and vote. Maybe, I don't need to. Again, I think the whole Prop 9 thing has turned a corner for us as an organization to realize the real strength that our organization has and the importance of these elections. Many of these elections may be decided by a few hundred votes or less. And so I would encourage all of you, if you want to continue to do something that will influence elected officials to help retirees as we go forward in the future legislative process, if you want to be perceived as a powerful organization, I am really asking you, please show up and be visible and go and vote. And let's not participate in the ugliness of some of these election things that go on. Let's just talk to each other, communicate, let people know who we're voting for and why, and then go and cast the vote. The other thing that I would say is that I know some of you live in areas that you have really long election ballots. And I'm thinking some of my folks in Harris County, for example, you may have a lot of people that are on that list, and you think, oh my gosh, I only wanted to vote for a few of these people. Listen, your vote counts for who you vote for. And if you choose to not vote for all the other stuff, no problem. But if you want to show up and vote for state rep, state senate, and anything else that's important to you on that ballot, and if that ballot is 35 pages long after that, and you decided, look, I don't know any of these other people, I showed up to vote for these, your votes are going to count for the people that you vote for. So I would encourage all of you to, again, more than anything else, as leaders in this organization, I know a lot of you watching, I'm looking at the folks that are here right now. Y'all are doing a great job. Thanks for tuning in. We're 29 minutes into this. I wish I would have stopped 10 minutes ago. But please, as leaders in this organization, I am asking all of you, turn up the volume. Let our members know that we need them to get out and vote. We want to be visible. We want to be seen as strong. We want to be seen as active. We are not partisan. We are showing up to vote for people that we believe in or who have a track record supporting us, or whatever your criteria is that is going to earn your vote. just go and vote and look at the track record, and then hopefully we'll continue to leave the impression, because it will be a real impression, that retired school employees are an important part of the advocacy, election, public policy process in the state of Texas. So, all right, that's what I've got for today. I'm going to take a look at all of your comments and suggestions, and we're going to see if we can cut this into maybe some short clips and put on social media and do some other things. If you are a TRTA member, you will be getting another email from us encouraging you all to vote. There's going to be some special information there as well, maybe even a sneak preview of our upcoming bulletin. We're talking about adding that into the letter as well. So there's a lot of stuff still coming your way. Please go and vote. And we'll see if we can post another one of these social media events before Election Day. Y'all have a great day, and let's go vote. Take care. Bye-bye.